Welcome to Contracting Conversations. I'm Scott Williams, and again, I'm joined by my partner, Jim Valley. And really, we're very excited to talk to you today because this is going to be our 100th episode of Contracting Conversations podcast. What do you know, Jim? 100 episodes.
I know they tortured us into doing this, and it's turned out to be a lot of fun, even though actually it was our idea. So I'm looking forward to you kind of recapping that.
Oh, absolutely. And we're doing video today. So Jim and I are on camera, which is a unique thing for us. But yeah, we've done this is our 100th episode. So let's revisit some of the reasons why we started this podcast in the first place. Jim and I had the idea after Back to Basics took effect that we needed to get some information out to the field about the new DAU lineup, the new certification that we were going through, the credentials, all the stuff that's changed in the last 3 years or darn near 4 years now. So we want to do a podcast to better communicate all those aspects to everyone in the field. You know, we started with the idea of talking to learning asset managers for the courses, interviewing them about the courses that were coming up. We've branched off into different subject areas. We've done artificial intelligence, service contracts, government property. We've talked to the Center Director for Contracting, talked to a lot of people, 100 episodes again. So what our idea was really to get the information out to you guys in a different forum, other than to just wait until see you in a class and when we talk to you, or in a webinar or another way of communicating. And we thought, hey, a podcast would be a great way to do it. So Jim and I started on this journey, and like I said, now we're at 100 episodes. So it's been a lot of fun. We're looking forward to the future, which we'll talk about here in a second. But Jim, what are your thoughts on doing 100 podcasts?
It is kind of amazing, and it's amazing also just how many assets DAU has and just how much more there is to go with just not just the assets, but talking to subject matter experts, which we're going to talk about for future. There's so much. Contracting is just gigantic, and also if you look at the whole acquisition functionals out there, we're all interconnected, and we have to do our jobs together as a team. So we'll talk about that also. So yeah, I'm pretty excited we got to 100.
It's gone by pretty quick, to be honest with you. Jim and I don't sit down, count how many we've got, but we'll look up. And the other day we looked up and said, hey, we've got like 96, 97 in the bank, and 100's coming up here shortly. So we want to do a quick and special recording for you guys. So Jim, if you don't mind, let's take a look at some of those playlists where our listeners can find the playlist, and just take a look at what's on the menu before we talk about what's coming up in the future.
Right. So they'll be able to see exactly, what have we done in these 99 other episodes. So let me bring those up really quick. All right, Scott. Does it look like
Awesome.
It's popped up there?
It did.
Okay. So this is dau.edu, and so hopefully all of you know how to get there. But what you need to do is go to training, and then videos and podcasts. And by the way, this is where it takes you to DAU Media, and there's a lot out there. So if you want to know about AI, we have an AI channel, even though we did talk about AI, right, Scott?
Yes.
So, but that goes in more detail. That's beyond just a contracting discussion. And then we go to the feature channel, Contracting Conversations, and in there you will be able to see all our playlists. You can go to obviously just the videos, go from the last one we published all the way back to, video number 1. This is the playlist. So all our intro videos in here, source selection, artificial intelligence, you can see these other ones. That's a great place to go if you are looking specifically for certain areas in contracting. And it's just amazing how much there is when it comes to contracting. It's kind of crazy in some ways. Now, Scott, we've been doing this, not Contracting Conversations, but been contracting for quite many years. I don't want to necessarily mention exactly how many. I think it's over 30 each. And it's just amazing what we have to do as contracting professionals. So that is our site and our playlist. Please take a look out there. And also, I'm going to have an ask at the end here, but we really need you to tell us what other things you want us to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jim, as he stops sharing his screen, and I'll talk a little bit about the future coming up on the podcast. Jim and I are pretty excited. We are going to be traveling down to Jacksonville, Florida at the beginning of March and working down at the Nexus NCMA conference that's going on down in Jacksonville, the 3rd of March through the 6th of March of this year. And when we're down there, we're going to be talking about acquisition success stories, acquisition planning success stories. So the conference is more than just contracting. It's bringing all sorts of different functionals together down at the conference, working together. And there's going to be presentations that teams are going to make, sharing their success stories. So Jim and I plan on talking to those teams and doing recordings with them to share. We're also going to be talking to some of the subject matter experts that are going to be delivering content down at the conference. So we're looking forward to that. And then just doing hopefully some random interviews with people attending the conference to see what they've liked and what they're up to. So lots of different things going on with that topic that we're excited. A little different avenue for us, but we're pretty pumped up about it. We've also got some other ideas to talk to some subject matter experts in contracting, some of the issues of the day, some issues that we feel are important to share with you. So maybe not so much a class or a credential course, but just talking about a subject in contracting that seems to be a hot subject or might just be something we want to expand upon. So doing some of those type of podcasts. We've got some revisions to some of our courses that we probably need to do some updates on. Con 1100, 1200, 1300, and 1400. We're going to be doing an update to our podcast on those classes because they're going through some changes, and we'll be covering that in the future, probably very near future on that. And I'll be talking to maybe just some various people along the way as Jim and I think of different subjects and different possibilities. But as Jim mentioned, and he's going to address this here, we really need your feedback too. What would you like to hear? And if we get some of that, maybe we can direct some of our future podcasts to address some of the topics that you guys would like to hear. So, Jim, what do you want to talk about, or what do you want to discuss on that ask you said you would address?
Well, I do want to do the ask, but I just want to kind of go back to something you said.
Oh, sure.
When it comes to these revised certification courses. Right now they're in the preliminary stages, but we really, really believe that the supervisors will be very pleased on how they're going to be changed, and students also. So we are excited about bringing that up. We're not quite ready to release that yet. We're in pilot stage, but we will talk about that hopefully by our 2nd anniversary podcast, which will be released sometime in the 3rd, 4th week of March. So hopefully by then we will have something to tell you. Okay, so let's talk about the ask. Okay, so we need your help. Okay, so we don't get a lot of feedback. We get a little bit, but we don't get a lot of feedback on, hey, we'd really like you to talk about topic X. And so please tell us what topics you would like to talk about. Also tell us any feedback on our podcast or something that is just driving you crazy. Hey, we'll listen to as much as possible, and maybe we'll go ahead and try to change some of that. Also, press the like button. Okay, the like button, I've mentioned this in, what do you think, Scott, in the last 10 or 15 recordings?
Well, we certainly try to remind people because it is really important for us, and Jim's going to explain to you why, but it is important to us that you hit that like button because it really, not only does it pump us up and we know people like our content, but it lets other people out there know so that we can continue to do these type of podcasts for you.
Yeah, exactly. And like I mentioned, YouTube really counts on those likes because that helps with the algorithm, right? So that kind of allows YouTube to go ahead and force those podcasts onto people they think may be interested in. Because obviously it's to YouTube's advantage to get people to watch videos. And so they're trying to match up those that may find it beneficial to listen to our podcasts or YouTube, which is a video. Okay, so please, if you could do that, that would be great. Also, spread the word to others. So tell others, hey, this podcast exists. Tell them that, hey, it'd be great if you could subscribe to it. You will find it beneficial, especially if you're taking, you're starting 1100 and you watch that podcast, sign up and then watch, all the other podcasts out there. If you have already passed all those certification courses, then guess what? we have credentials. And so we have all those videos out there on credentials. And wouldn't it be nice if you could listen to ones that you're interested in seeing if is it the right credential for you? Okay, we don't want to waste your time, and you want to make sure you don't have unlimited amount of time. So you want to make sure that you're watching when it makes sense and taking that training when it makes sense. And also to justify us spending the time to do this podcast. Scott and I are both department chairs, and so we have quite a few people that we're responsible for. And so this is taking time away from those folks. And so we need you to help us justify to DAU and to us that the podcast is worthy of being, time is being spent on that. Right, Scott?
Oh, absolutely. We want to make sure we're providing value to you guys. And, Jim and I really enjoy doing it. We've got lots of ideas. We'd like to hear some of your ideas, making sure we're doing it, because initially we just kind of charged out with the idea of, hey, we're going to talk about these courses and these credentials. And as Jim mentioned just now, the credentials, there's a lot of contracting credentials and courses and learning assets in those credentials. So there's a lot of training out there, that lifelong learning aspect of our training. There's a lot out there for you to look at, to see, webinars that we are producing at DAU, different learning assets. So there's a lot going on, and we want to make sure that we're covering topics that of value to you all. As I said initially, thought the classes and the courses, because we went through such a change, a few years back here. So we thought that would be really neat to get out there. But as we look to the future, different ideas, we really welcome your comments and your feedback. So Jim, you want to take us home?
Yes. So everybody out there, I don't know if you're watching this on YouTube or DAU Media or Apple Podcasts, but that's where we're located at. So please sign up for all of them if you want, or sign up for those that you find that is beneficial to you in your listening and viewing habits. So I welcome you to give us your feedback, and we look forward to future contracting conversations with you.